What's up, MPX addicts? Welcome to the MPX Rehab. I am your host, the hashtag certified Mark J. Williams. As you can tell, obviously, I am here by myself, and that is because today sucks. Kyle has a migraine. I have a sinus issue of some sort. I'm not entirely sure what's going on, but either way, here I am giving you guys at least the rundown of last week and the predictions or preview of next week. And yeah, and we're pushing Rehab After Dark back to next week, in which we will have the man of mystery himself, Phil Noir, in the studio. It will happen. I've been trying for too long to get this to work, and finally. But last week, MPX, no turning back. If you saw the after show, you saw a heartfelt farewell of sorts from our former MPX champion, the second ever Grand Slam champion, Dave Sagan, Hail Sagan. And, well, unfortunately, things didn't exactly go as he had hoped and planned because, he did have his main event match with Tatum Manning for the MPX Championship, and it did not turn out as he had hoped. But he strove to fight as hard as he can. He got his ass kicked. I mean, seriously, if you really watch it, a lot of it is mostly Tatum beating the snot out of Dave. And Dave doing everything he can to fight back, but Tatum proved to be the stronger man last week, and well, still our MPX champion, Tatum Manning, whether you love him or you hate him. But to get started back at the top of the show, the pre-show match, the hero Aaron Eagle, the immortal Jason Silver, one-on-one. As far as I know, for the first time, at least at MPX, these two guys put on a heck of a show. I mean, you have the absolutely death-defying insanity that is Jason Silver, and you have the, just technical skill of Aaron Eagle. These two put on a hell of a show, and Aaron Eagle came away the victor in this one with that lung blower. That thing just looks so painful, so devastating. I'm amazed that, people are able to come out of that in one piece. Regardless, kayfabe, shoot, whatever you want to call it, that looks just painful to watch, from the fans' angle at least. After that, we had the opening match of the main show, in which the Iron Belly hath returned and took on Jake Lindsay. These two have met before numerous times in the pre-show, back during the old regime, I guess you could say. I'd say that given the way things are now, Iron Belly and Jake Lindsay have kind of a 2-2. That's if you count the pre-show stuff. I know some people don't. My partner being one of them, but I happen to have a personal stake in it a little bit. Yes, maybe a little bit of bias, but the Iron Belly fought hard in this one. But JD, say what you want about whether he's there or not, whether he's actually doing anything for the Sons of Mayhem or whether he's doing it all for himself. And I believe there may be some, argument on that side because you saw the after show. It's, all hail the coach, right? But yeah, Jake Lindsay has been putting in a hell of a lot of work and doing amazing, love him or hate him. And he came out on top. He beat the Iron Belly. It's like, unfortunately, yes, for me, that's a little bit sad because, Iron Belly's my friend, but, I have a respect for Jake, the judge, one way or the other. So, it's good. Maybe we'll have that eventual rubber match between the two eventually. After that, we had, Tommy Becker came out and he basically talked about how, well, it's like, regardless of who wins, Tatum or Dave, he was going to take on whoever won because he is the greatest former MPX champion of all time. Cue Exodus Prime. And I've got to say, what's been happening lately is throwing me for a loop. And don't get me wrong, I know the MPX addicts love him, regardless of him being a good guy, a bad guy, whatever. Exodus Prime is deserving of the adoration he gets from the addicts, and also deserving of the booze he's gotten from the addicts, too. It's just, how it rolls. And Exodus Prime comes out and says, say that one more time. And he has a back and forth with Tommy until he just blindsides him and clocks him in the face, leading to a hell of a match between these two because, like Kyle likes to say, Tommy Becker is one of the most athletic men in MPX, and I think that can be rivaled by the athleticism, the skill, the technicality, and just the explosive tenacity of Exodus Prime. So when these two are going back and forth on each other, it's easy to see that, this was kind of up in the air. But in the end, Exodus Prime came out the winner. And this is where things got a little weird for me because Exodus Prime going face? I mean, obviously the addicts were behind him in this one because, you can say Tommy's a tweener, but he tends to get the more negative reaction between the two unless it's against someone like Michael Schaefer. But in this one, Exodus was getting all of the cheers while Tommy was getting all of the heat. And in the end, Exodus Prime came out on top. And I know I saw this. Somebody had to have gotten it on film, on camera, on a picture, something. He high-fived a kid on the way out. I mean, there is no bigger signifier of a face than a high five to a kid. So, I don't know. I mean, if he's gone face, I guess Exodus is good at whatever he does. Man doesn't know how to fail. But at the same time, it's just like, he's so good at being a heel that I don't know. We'll see. Because I'm going to try to have faith in the system, I guess you could say. And if nothing else, I'm going to put my faith in Exodus's ability to pull off whatever he's doing. After that, we had that triple threat match, which was, I love Tatum and Dave, but this was match of the night. This absolutely was match of the night. You had J.D. Griffey with the Sons of Mayhem in his corner, taking on the ungodly heathen that is Brick Savage and the Madman Fulton. This match was amazing. I mean, it's like you had the power of Brick Savage, you had the technical skill of J.D. Griffey, and you had, basically the combination of both when it came to Madman Fulton. And J.D. Griffey said it correctly, in my opinion, on the after show when he said that you don't often survive a match with Brick Savage. You don't often survive a match with Madman Fulton. And he survived both of them. Not only did he survive, he actually won the match. Now, admittedly, it was Fulton he pinned. So, I mean, that kind of leaves it up in the air as to whether he could really beat Brick Savage. So, we'll have to see that one in the future, I guess. But it was a great match. Although, I will say, and I'm going to crop this up to them not working together before, that did seem a little out of step on occasion throughout the match. You could watch somebody does one move, moves to go somewhere else, then has to turn around because I guess they're trying to get to the next spot or something. It just, I don't know. I'm not a wrestler, but that is, from my perspective, sitting in the crowd, it looked like occasionally there were people who just, lost a step, needed to get back into it, but they did. And they did amazingly at it. So I can't really take that away from it too much. It's just one of those things my brain noticed. That's what happens when you do this, what I do, and what Kyle does for as long as we do. You start to see the little things that no one else in the crowd is ever going to notice. That's why Kyle, is able to sit here and be upset about how Kid Bandit performed with Dmitry Alexandrov, and very few, if any, of the addicts are going to notice because they're there to watch the match, to be entertained. And 9 times out of 10, 99% of the time, they absolutely are. And so, but us, we're critics. So, of course, take everything we say with a grain of salt. So our job is literally to sit there to watch these matches and to catch those moments and not just see. It's like, a botch, a flub, anything like that, that's going to happen. It's live performances. It's how they recover that really makes it good. That's why the triple threat was at match of the night, because even with them being out of step like that, they recovered really, really well and pulled off an amazing match. So, match of the night, that one. And who knows, maybe it'll be on the list of match of the year. That'll be up to the rest of the Academy. We're almost done with the nominations on that, by the way. So that'll be out by next week. Then we had the match between Red Chambers with, of course, JD and Jake in his corner. And he was taking on Phil Shark. Now, this one was interesting insofar as, very obviously, Red hasn't exactly been on the same page of late with the rest of the Sons of Mayhem, most especially the leadership with Joe, with JD. There's been some kind of disconnect. I think it comes from the fact that Red is used to being the leader of the Sons of Mayhem because he was the chosen son, the final chosen son, let's be honest, of Stephen Kirby, greatest human being alive, before he retired. This led to some issues because Phil Shark has been on a roll, on a tear, on a feeding frenzy, if you will. Yes, I have been saving that one. But he's been doing really, really good at MPX of late. And so it did leave the question of, was Red going to be the sole L in the book for the Sons of Mayhem tonight? Not so much. Admittedly, there was a little bit where, Jake was constantly grabbing Phil's water and, not letting him have it or anything like that. But, I would say that still, regardless, it was Red's win in this, because not once, even though he kept the water away from him, not once did Jake ever lay hands on Phil. So therefore, minus the little bit of a distraction of that, Red did it himself. And like we saw, it's hail to the coach for that one, apparently. Oh yeah, James, definitely. Not even the same book. Not even close. Then we had the tag team match as the Children of Scorn. Gabe Wilder, the Rugged One, the Mad Prince, Tommy Prince, and Hilda. They've had a bad month, let's just say. It hasn't been great for them recently. Aaron Eagle defeating both of them. And the reason they won against Tommy Bolton and Aaron Eagle earlier, according to Aaron Eagle, all being because Tommy couldn't pull it off. I guess we'll find out how Tommy feels about that one next week. But, of course, there's the attacks from Richard, and there's just a whole bunch of things just kind of not going well for them. But tonight, in their element, or not tonight, Saturday night, in their element, they were able to pull out a win against a superstar team-up of the leading man, Michael Schaefer, and the boy band behemoth, Mikey B. And that one, I honestly was kind of hope we'll get to see more of that, because those two, that's an interesting team up. I mean, I'd love to see Best Picture again, but if we're gonna have the lights, camera, action of Schaefer and Mikey B, I'm all for it. You know, but unfortunately, there was some miscommunications on the other side, I guess you could say, as Sapo and Polly and Larry and everybody, got into Hilda's face. Hilda got into their faces, and Sammy having solidarity with her fellow girl, you know, girl power definitely. And honestly, that would be an interesting tag team in and of itself, in my opinion. But the two of them taking down pretty much everyone that wasn't actually in the match, and letting Gabe and Tommy get the win. So the Children of Scorn able to get their revenge, and they are raring to go and take out the former father, Sensei. Right, yes. I was more of saying of not specifically him being coach. It's a term I've heard said a number of times for those self-centered type coaches who hail to the coach. It's all because of them that they won the game, right? The players, the wrestlers, the fighters, they had nothing to do with it, right? I'm pretty sure he'll tell me my opinion is wrong on that later. But of course, like I talked about earlier, the main event, Tatum Manning, Dave Sagan. That we've seen this before, but Dave wasn't exactly in his right mind, in my opinion. This time it didn't end so well for Dave, with it just straight up a beating at the hands of Tatum Manning. And the 1 in a million retaining the championship very decisively with this one. And because of that, that means, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to keep Dave around much for a while. And who knows when we'll be able to see him again. We'll miss him. We love him. And if you watch the after show, he loves us too. Even if he is, going to beat the crap out of me when he's on camera. But yeah, No Turning Back was a really good show. I really enjoyed it, and obviously we're going to be seeing a lot more. I mean, because we've got 6 Ways to Saturday this weekend, in which we're going to have. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 matches announced. That's 4 main matches in the pre-show match, and looks like a really good lineup, with one caveat, and this is entirely on me, on my opinion, okay? Because I'm pretty sure I know what happened, but Dmitry Alexandrov, sorry if you can hear that, somebody came home, and of course our alarm system went off. But the MPX Prospect Championship second defense for Dmitry Alexandrov will be against Jake Lindsay, the person he defeated in his first defense. Someone said a joke of, well, maybe all 4 will be against Jake and we'll have that happen. I don't know. But like I said, I'm going to trust, and I'm pretty sure I know the reason why it's set up like this. And either way, it's going to be a good match. I'm not going to complain about that, obviously. Then we've also got Shimbashi coming back, and he's going to be taking on Angel Camacho for the MPX Addicts Championship. It's great to see Shimbashi the first time. It's going to be good to see him again this time. I'm going to be sad to see him die. But this is the Puerto Rican juggernaut we're talking about. You have seen the feats of absolute strength it has taken to be able to put him down. You have seen the fact that whenever he's in a tag team with Ocho, it's Ocho usually that gets pinned, because the best they can do is keep Angel out of the ring and actually pin Ocho. It's like, this is Angel Camacho. Brick Savage couldn't beat him, which takes a hell of a lot for Brick Savage not to be able to beat somebody one-on-one. So, yeah, that was that's going to be pretty interesting. It's the whole thing of, hey kids, want to see a dead body? Then we're going to have a tag team match that we've seen it before, sort of. It's going to be Purple Haze taking on the Sons of Mayhem, but this time it's a different lineup. It's Red and Joe. So we'll see whether that miscommunication that seems to be happening within the Sons of Mayhem will cost them, or whether they'll be able to pull out a victory once again and, maybe try to prove that they can beat Purple Haze. Because they haven't had the greatest of luck with that lately. But we're also going to have Gabe Wilder, the Children of Scorn, taking on Kari Wright, the reincarnation of excellence. And like Gabe has said on Facebook, this is something he's been waiting for, because, ever since this, Civil Disorder abandoned him, he's been looking for a way to get back at them. And he's not had the greatest of luck against Exodus, but he's still got Kari to deal with, So we'll see how that one goes for him. And then, of course, there's what's going to be the main event, I'm pretty sure, the six-pack challenge, in which the winner of this match will be taking on Tatum Manning, the MPX champion, at A Cold Day in Hell. And the lineup on this one alone means this match is going to be something to watch. It's going to be absolute chaos, but these matches usually are. But it's going to be fun to watch, because we've got J.D. Griffey. We've got the final boss, Lord Exodus Prime. We've got the Miracle Maker, Tommy Dean. We've got the hero, Aaron Eagle. We've got the buzzard, Tommy Bolton. And we've got the Mad Prince. This one I'm really interested in, because we're going to have that, J.D. Griffey, Exodus Prime. They've got a history, those two. We've got Aaron Eagle and Tommy Bolton. Like I said, how's Tommy Bolton feeling about the aspersions cast upon him by Aaron Eagle over who's at fault for the loss against the Children of Scorn? And then, of course, you've got the Mad Prince, you've got Tommy Dean, and those two, well, let's just say they can put on a hell of a show, one way or the other. So this match alone is looking to be, like I said, absolute chaos. It's going to be power, it's going to be technicality, it's going to be just amazing to watch. So make sure you have your tickets for this show, because it's going to be really awesome. And I'm definitely looking forward to it. And speaking of making sure you have your tickets for the show, remember, Cold Day in Hell, December 3rd, is not included on the MPX Season Pass for December. You have to get that separately, because we're going to have Sky Blue versus Max the Impaler. I almost said Mad Max, but no. But I was really looking forward to Sky Blue versus Abaddon. I was really looking forward to seeing Abaddon again. But you know what? Ever since I've seen Max the Impaler pop up on my Facebook feed, I'm really looking forward to this one too, because that's going to be really awesome. Still say that Max is a long-lost sibling to the Iron Belly, but But of course, if you look at the event page, this month has a really interesting set of shows that I believe are going to be included on the season pass, because we've got a very Mikey B Christmas. I guess I'll go. I still want to see, I really do want to see Max Sterling, classy Max Sterling, versus the boy band behemoth Mikey B. I think that match, on the merits of who the guys are alone, would be an incredible, incredible match. And the fact that I kind of seem to have started something between the two of them by saying I wanted to see that match, all the better. But at the end of the month, at the end of the year, the final night of 2022, it's going to be Retroplex Wrestling. Now, if you're new here, as in maybe the last couple of years, MPX had this tradition that it has started for a little while, maybe like 3 or 4 years, called the Time Warp. The last show of Metroplex Wrestling at the end of every year was a throwback show where each of the wrestlers would dress up basically in cosplay as one of their favorite wrestlers from the past, and they would take each other on, sometimes in classic matchups, sometimes in dream matches, sometimes in, hey, they didn't do it right the first time, we'll do it better. Because we've seen some incredible matchups. We've seen the three faces of Foley facing off against each other. We've seen the Brothers of Destruction reunite. We have seen Sting versus Jeff Hardy at the show. We have seen the recreation of the collapse of the Mega Powers. I just can't. I love this show. I'm so glad that despite some of the issues that there have been with it in the past, they have decided to continue at least the spirit of it, even if it's not Time Warp. It is Retroplex Wrestling. I'm looking forward to this. I really am. So make sure you get your season passes for December because, it's going to be so good. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Next week, Kyle and I will be both back in the studio. We will have a regular MPX Rehab for once before the end of this month. Or at least we're going to try, I promise. And, yeah. Well, we will have that Rehab After Dark with Phil Noir. That, like I said, I waited too long for that one. I am going to get my interview with Phil Noir. I've got to write up 7 questions for him. I'll explain that one later. Either way, keep it kayfabe, wrestling fans. Mark out.